Regulation should be a good issue for Democrats. It's certainly one they're associated with. And I think the average voter would agree that banks and chemical plants and drug companies need watching. Telling a company, you can't dump the waste from your hog farm straight into the water supply. We're mostly all for that. But Democrats have become a parody of themselves, just making rules to make rules because it makes you feel like you're a better person. Making sure that everything bad never happens again, which you can never fully do. It just makes everyone else's life a drag. The Biden infrastructure bill has a provision that requires all new cars to install an alert system that goes off when you leave a baby in the back seat, which is something done only by crackheads and people who sadly, yes, do it on purpose. And after every one of us winds up bearing the cost for cars to install this alarm, you know who's going to ignore it? Crackheads and people who...
Let's talk about Bill Maher, because lately, every time he speaks, chaos follows. The left gets uncomfortable, the right leans in, and everyone else is asking, wait, did Bill Maher just sound more conservative than the conservatives? Yeah, he did. And that's what makes this so interesting. Maher isn't new to the game, he's been around for decades. An old-school liberal, the kind who proudly carried the progressive torch. He used to be the left's hype man, their comedic warrior. Now, he's the class clown who just realized the teacher doesn't know that 2 + 2 is equal to 4 anymore. The wildest part? Maher hasn't really changed. He's not flipping sides or chasing mega points. He's just doing what he's always done, calling out the BS. It just so happens that most of that BS is now coming from the left. And trust me, he's got plenty of material to work with. Let's start with one of his favorite targets, overregulation.
Should be a good issue for Democrats. It's certainly one they're associated with. And I think the average voter would agree that banks and chemical plants and drug companies need watching. Telling a company, you can't dump the waste from your hog farm straight into the water supply. We're mostly all for that. But Democrats have become a parody of themselves, just making rules to make rules because it makes you feel like you're a better person. Making sure that everything bad never happens again, which you can never fully do. It just makes everyone else's life.
Take Biden's massive infrastructure bill. Hidden inside was a rule requiring every new car to come with an alarm that reminds parents they left a baby in the back seat. Sounds noble, right? Until you stop and ask, who is that actually for? Because normal parents don't just forget their baby like they forget their iced coffee. And in the rare, tragic cases where it does happen, no alarm is going to fix it. Yet now everyone gets to pay more for this pointless feature. And the people it's supposed to help, they'll ignore it anyway.
The Biden infrastructure bill has a provision that requires all new cars to install an alert system that goes off when you leave a baby in the back seat, which is something done only by crackheads and people who sadly, yes, do it on purpose. And after every one of us winds up bearing the cost for cars to install this alarm, you know who's going to ignore it? Crackheads and people who do it.
That right there. That's the left in a nutshell. Rules for the sake of rules. Doesn't matter if they work. Doesn't matter if they make life harder. As long as it feels virtuous, they're satisfied. But Maher's had enough. He's calling it what it is, bureaucratic suffocation dressed up as progress. And he's right. How can anyone be free, creative, or even funny when every joke, every move, every sentence has to pass a political purity test? You can't live like that. That's not progress. That's a padded cell with Wi-Fi.
He's not a monster.
And a husband and a father.
Yes. And I liked him. I liked them all. They're all nice people when you meet them in person. And they're not as crazy as they would. Nobody's as crazy as them.
And speaking of cages, let's talk about how the modern left treats anyone who disagrees with them. This is one of Maher's biggest beefs. Disagree on policy? You're a monster. Question their logic? You're a fascist. Push back even a little? Boom. You're far right. Debate? Gone. Dialogue? Dead. It's not about ideas anymore. It's about destroying the person who dares to have one. Ironically, Maher says conservatives are now the ones you can have a civil conversation with. You can argue, disagree, and still grab dinner. The left. Admit you ate lunch with someone in a red hat, and you're cancelled by dessert.
The right-wingers say what you want about them, but they talk to you. They're not into this leftist think that the left really has much more of a, I don't talk to you, I don't want to deal with you, you're deplorable, I can't break bread with you.
Yeah.
That attitude, and like all the right-wingers, they don't have that attitude. Now,
That's why Maher's criticism cuts deeper. He's not an outsider. He's one of them, a lifelong liberal who still believes in reason and comedy. So when he starts pointing out how far the left has gone, it stings. It's like your best friend telling you your outfit looks ridiculous. That truth hurts more than any insult from a stranger.
Flaws, but you can't accuse me of maturing. Let's get this straight. It's not me who's changed. It's the left, who is now made up of a small contingent who've gone mental and a large contingent who refuse to call them out for it. But I will. That's why I'm a hero at Fox.
Look at Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney's daughter, a diehard Republican. The moment she said Biden won the election, the left treated her like a hero. Now the roles are reversed. Bill Maher is calling out leftist insanity, and conservatives are cheering him on, while liberals treat him like public enemy number one. That's how broken politics has become. You don't even need to change your beliefs, just agree with the other side once, and suddenly they claim you.
Just how much liberals have their head up their ass, because if they really thought about it, they would have made me a hero on their media. But that can't happen in this ridiculous new era of mind-numbing partisanship, where if I keep it real about the nonsense in the Democratic Party, it makes me an instant hero to Republicans. The same thing happened in reverse to Darth Vader's daughter, Liz Cheney, who is now a hero to liberals simply because she recognizes Biden did not steal the last election. What a sad commentary on our politics.
And Maher sees it. He says it clearly. He didn't change, the left did. They've gone off the deep end. And the sane voices. Too scared to say anything. That silence, that cowardice is what's driving the insanity. Instead of saying, hey, maybe teaching kids that math is racist is a bit much, they just nod along, terrified of being cancelled.
Acknowledging reality is now seen as a profile in courage. People sometimes say to me, you didn't used to make fun of the left as much. Yeah, because they didn't give me so much to work with. The oath of office I took was to comedy. And if you do goofy shit, wherever you are on the spectrum, I'm going to make fun of you because that's where the gold is. And the fact that they are laughing at it should tell you something. It rings true.
And there's no shortage of nonsense to call out. Take California, the crown jewel of progressive politics. Shoplifting is practically legal. People walk out of stores with armfuls of stolen goods, and no charges are filed. The media calls it social justice. You think Middle America sees that and says, yeah, this is progress. No, they're saying, what the hell is wrong with Democrats?
Normal people read that San Francisco has basically legalized shoplifting. They think Democrats have gone nuts. They think, that Ted Cruz guy seems like a real stiff. But at least he believes in the concept of shopping with money.
And then there's homelessness. Instead of fixing it, Democrats normalized it. Tent cities on sidewalks. Needles. Trash. Crime. And they pat themselves on the back for their compassion. That's not compassion. That's collapse. And somehow, we're supposed to applaud it. And don't forget cancel culture, the left's favorite sport. What started as accountability turned into a digital witch hunt. Careers destroyed. Comedy strangled. Truth silenced. Maher nailed it when he said his loyalty is to comedy. If you do something dumb, left or right, he's roasting you. But now, the left doesn't laugh anymore. Everything's an offense. The irony. Conservatives are the ones laughing, while the left is busy cancelling Dr. Seuss and putting pronouns on Mr. Potato Head.
That the party of FDR and JFK is turning into the party of LOL and WTF. Members of Congress tweeting things like cancel rent, cancel mortgage, and no more policing or incarceration, declaring that capitalism is slavery, canceling Lincoln and Dr. Seuss, teaching children they're oppressors and math is racist, making Mr. Potato Head gender neutral, and now an emoji for pregnant men.
And the regulations keep rolling in. Non-gendered toy aisles? Really, we need a law for that. California has become so obsessed with micromanaging life that starting a business, building a house, or even just breathing requires wading through red tape. And then they wonder why everyone's moving to Texas and Florida. It's not hard to figure out. People don't want a government that treats them like toddlers.
California just passed a law requiring large retailers to have a non-gendered toy section. A non-gendered toy section? Isn't Ken enough? We need a law for that? You have to inject yourselves into everything, from where you can throw a frisbee to who can braid hair? This is why so many people, by the way, were triggered by COVID policies. They were already sick of rules.
And here's where Maher lands his hardest punch. Strip away the hashtags, slogans, and virtue signaling, and what's left of the left is a parody. The party of FDR and JFK is now the party of woke, broke, and what the hell. Cancel rent. Cancel prisons. Capitalism is slavery. Men can get pregnant, and yes, there's an emoji for that. They don't even need comedians to mock them. They're doing it themselves. Maher's just pointing it out. But instead of facing the truth, the left wants to ban it, block it, or label it fascism. That's why conservatives suddenly see Bill Maher as a hero. Not because he switched sides, but because he still believes in common sense.
Regulation should be a good issue for Democrats. It's certainly one they're associated with. And I think the average voter would agree that banks and chemical plants and drug companies need watching. Telling a company, you can't dump the waste from your hog farm straight into the water supply. We're mostly all for that. But Democrats have become a parody of themselves, just making rules to make rules because it makes you feel like you're a better person. Making sure that everything bad never happens again, which you can never fully do. It just makes everyone else.
So where does that leave us? A man who spent decades as one of comedy's loudest liberal voices is now proof that common sense isn't partisan. It's not blue or red. It's just real. And that's what scares the modern left, because it means their moral monopoly is crumbling. What America needs isn't more rules or more labels. It needs honesty. It needs humor. It needs freedom, the freedom to joke, to think, to speak without fear of a Twitter mob dragging you for breathing wrong. That's what Bill Maher is bringing back, whether he realizes it or not. And for the first time in a long time, conservatives aren't laughing at him. They're laughing with him. So, what do you think? Is Bill Maher just a fed-up liberal calling out his own side's madness? Or is he slowly drifting toward the center, maybe even the right? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe. Because if this is where politics is headed, we've got a lot more to talk about.